What's up, everybody? Today we're talking about automating self-storage. Can you really automate a self-storage facility? The first part that we talk about here is, first of all, is it possible? Maybe pros and cons. And then the second part is going to be how to. So the answer to the question right off the bat, yes and no. I know that's a horrible answer, and I'm going to explain why. Because when we say automate, there's a lot of confusion in the industry and what this means, and you have to be very clear about it. Some people are going around saying there's such things as manless storage facility, as in you don't need anybody to do anything on the storage facility. This is not an ATM, and there is no such thing as a manless storage facility. There are things that have to be done at a storage facility that will require presence. It may not require somebody every single day, but it will still require you to do work. You need to clean out units, believe it or not, but some people don't pay and leave all their junk in a storage facility. Now, we have auctions, and then after the auctions happen, and after you sell off their stuff, which all take place at the facility, then you need to clean out that unit and get it prepared and ready for your next tenant. None of this stuff can be done on a computer. Now, when I say none of it can be done on a computer, I'm not saying the act of it, as in an auction can be done on a computer. We do all our auctions across over 8,000 doors and 5 states, auctions online. Also, to give you some context, we were one of the first people in the nation to have a truly keyless facility. This means that no one has to have a lock or key. It could all be done off your phone. Somebody could rent in California, go and rent a unit from us at Nevada. They can pay, they can get their unit, they can rent it, access doors, gates, the entire works without ever interacting with another human being. It is totally possible to automate a storage facility. The key is pros and cons and how you go about it. So let's talk about where this works and where it doesn't. In storage, you have your operational expenses, and size of a storage facility, whether that's 10,000 square feet or 200,000 square feet, a lot of the expenses are pretty much the same, especially when it comes down to labor. So the smaller you get, those expenses really eat into your margin. And that's why I believe that small storage facilities really do need to be automated. You have to really lower that labor cost, because that labor cost is one of your largest costs that you incur in storage. And the smaller it is, the bigger that cost eats away, making you less profitable. So the pros are that cost that's taken away. Now, I have a very large storage facility that we have a keyless or an automated storage facility, but we have employees. In fact, we have multiple employees. It's 160,000 square feet. Its rentable square footage is around 120. We do over $120,000 a month, and there's no way, it's all indoor, that this could be done without having personnel on the ground. There's way too many units, way too many people, way too much going on. We have to have personnel on the ground. Now, if I had a small unit, small facility, which is where I got started in the industry, I got started in small facilities in rural towns. So if I had 50 units, the key would be to automate and make it so it's as passive as possible, limiting the time and expenditures that go into that asset. This is where automation is really helpful. The bigger you get, the less that you would consider it a manless or a true automated facility. One of the major reasons is the loss of revenue. So the loss of revenue that I incur from the upsell that I utilize managers to sell everything from insurance and products, and then also taking care of problems and the efficiency of getting units onto the market back extraordinarily quickly and making sure that it's an environment that high-paying tenants want to be. The cost incurred for labor doesn't matter at a facility that size compared to the cost that I would lose because that facility would get out of control very, very quickly. So not all facilities are treated the same. Whereas in the cost of labor in a smaller facility will not give you that kind of ROI. If you have 50 units, it's easy to manage as more of a part-time role, meaning there's things that you can do. You can use a keyless entry system like we do called NoKey. It's all done off your phone and app. These are the pros and cons. It's made for ease of use. It's hands-off, okay? Big facilities, it maximizes our efficiency. It maximizes our operations. So we still utilize it. In fact, we access a whole market that needs to rent online at that time and get a unit even when all the other storage facilities are closed. Now, a lot of people talk about kiosks. And before we get into really how to do this, my thoughts on kiosks, because I feel I need to address it, are kiosks are dead. Because this is your kiosk right here. Everybody has them. And online rentals are the future and must need to be done. So if I'm renting, if I'm finding the storage facility from my phone, from a computer anyways, which over 80% of all your tenants will find you from a cell phone, if that's the case anyways, why am I adding a whole nother step into getting that unit? And then I'd cost a lot of expensive equipment. Online rentals take care of all this. Now, how? All right, this is the big question, and this is what we're going to get into. How to accomplish this and how does it work? How do you have an automated facility? What does the labor look like? What is entailed in this? The first thing you need to know is everything needs to be done online. Auctions, online rentals, and it'd be preferable to have a keyless entry system. So that way you can lock people out of their unit without ever being there. The actual locks and keys on the storage facility adds a whole nother layer. If somebody's delinquent, you need to lock them out until they pay. You have to have that stuff ready to get it ready for auction. But if I have a keyless entry system, I can automate that. If they don't pay, they go past 3 days, boom, automatically their door locks and they don't have access into it. This is all done through our no-key system. And it's all done online. It's hands-off. If I don't have that, I need to go to the property and I have to overlock, which is fine. You can do that too. So if you don't have a keyless entry system, how do you get people in and how do you get people out? So the key to that is still having online rental. But what you can do is after somebody moves out, you clean out the unit, get it all ready, you set the lock inside, you give them a free lock. Once again, that's a loss of revenue. You give them a free lock, you shut the door, they online rental, they come to get their unit, they open their unit, they overlock it, you're charging them, right? Then if they don't pay, you just need to go back to the unit and overlock it. So you also need to be making sure that you have someone do, I would say, weekly drive-bys. You don't want people abusing you. You don't want your asset to look bad. It's all about presentation. You need to make sure you're doing online ads because that's how you're going to get all your customers. You can also make it even more passive by tying in a third-party service for a call center. Now, they will manage all of the calls that come in. They can even sell units. They can take care of billing problems. They can take care of a lot of that for you. So if I have a call center, a keyless entry system that I'm utilizing, online auctions, I've taken a lot of that work off the site. And if you have a smaller facility, that's great. Of course, there's a cost to these things, but it's a fraction of labor cost. So it works. The key is you need someone to go on site to check for repairs, maintenance, abuse, people. If storage facilities just sit empty and nobody's looking at it, there's problems, right? You need to clear out the units. You need to make sure it's clean. You have snow removal. There's lots of things and maintenance and operations that need to be done there. So you've got to figure out how you're going to do that. Is that going to be you? Are you going to contract out someone to do it? I've done that. I contracted out. I actually called a towing company in the city that I worked for, and I said, listen, if we call you and we need you to come clean out a unit or overlock somebody and get it ready for an auction, then they charge us for that. So we contracted out that part-time work. We didn't have a manager on site. That can be done. So there's ways to do it so you automate a facility to make it so you don't need a full-time manager. Really, all we're talking about is streamlining operations online, paying third-party services to do it so you don't have to have a full-time employee eating away at your expense when they're not doing anything all day. The larger the facility you get, now you're leaving money on the table. If I'm doing $150,000 a month and I have a $3,000 payroll, it's insignificant compared to taking care of problems, always working on the facility, upselling locks and insurance, which the upsell and insurance sales will take care of that anyway. Now, if you have an automated facility, maybe you mandate that they have to take insurance. You have to be careful with that. I'm not an attorney. Some states may not allow you to do that. Talk to your attorney about that. The point being is how you automate a facility. You contract out, or you do, the work that needs to be done. Getting units ready, overlocking, maintenance, you get a call center, and you create online rental system. If you can add in a keyless entry system to utilize, that's great. If not, your vacant units after they're cleared and ready, have what the tenant needs to rent the unit, their key and lock, shut the door. Then when they rent online, they will get emails, and that will give them gate access and give them their unit number. They can drive in and they can utilize the unit. When they don't pay, you need someone once again to show up and overlock, and then you can proceed with the auction. And that is dependent on your state and how those auctions are held based upon timeframes and laws. Another great reason to have a call center is they can help you manage all these things. At the end of the day, yes, it is possible. But is it a full automated facility? No, it's not. It's not an ATM machine. This is a real estate asset and a business, and there are things that need to be done on site. It is my belief that smaller storage facilities are almost not economical with staff. So the way of the automation is not just the future. I believe that it was a long time ago, hence the reason when we had small storage facilities, we figured out how to do that 15 years ago and how to contract, do a lot of things online. We changed the way expenses were done, the way online rentals were had. I didn't want the market that didn't do online payments and online rentals. So if they wanted to actually come in and meet with somebody, we just didn't do it. For everything that needed to be done on site, we contracted out, and that's really beneficial when we didn't leave because these were hours, 9 hours away from us. They weren't close. If you're living close to your facility, you can do all of that. But in order to make it really profitable and worth your while, smaller storage facilities need to be automated. Larger storage facilities need to be automated, but they need to be manned too. This is great technology, and innovation is changing all the time. I'm gonna have a lot more videos on this because there's so many vendors popping up in the market. There's so much technology coming in that I don't have anywhere near enough time to talk about everything that is happening. But for anyone that does have an automated storage facility, please share with others in the comments what you're doing, how you're doing it. This is a fascinating part of the industry. It's exciting, and I love seeing all the innovation. Like, guys, subscribe, please share our content, and we'll keep bringing it to you. Thanks.